Hi, I'm Alison Bringé, Chief Marketing Officer at Launchmetrics. And in this masterclass series, I'm going to share insights to help you increase your ROI in a cross-channel world. Whether it's the phrase cross-channel, multi-channel, or omni-channel, it's clear the number of digital touchpoints with the consumer has multiplied. And with it, it's more challenging than ever to understand what are the most efficient means to reach your consumer, what content works best, and how to allocate your budget. Although there's a lot of complexity with all these new touch points, it's undeniable that the multiplication of these touch points has brought about even more opportunity than ever before. For one, a cross-channel strategy keeps your audience engaged, which is key when you're trying to build your brand performance. It helps keep your brand top of mind. By developing this strong multi-touchpoint strategy, you're putting yourself out there on various platforms with the same consistent message, thus creating engagement and trust with your consumer. Instead of waiting passively, hoping the consumer finds you, you can actively seek out ways to interact and engage with your consumer as frequently as possible so they keep coming back for more. Secondly, by promoting your brand through the various platforms and channels, you're able to gather valuable insights and data around them, their habits, and their behaviors, all which is critical information to fine-tune your marketing strategy and create better, more tailored content that will resonate with them. In fact, today, the art of communication and marketing is all about first, understanding your goal in order to define the right message. But secondly, how to distribute it via the right voice or on the right channel to reach the right consumer. In this digital age, we know consumers engage with content in various ways and in various positions in their buying journey, whether that be in their research and discovery phase, their consideration period, or their decision-making process, which is why having the right message on the right channel can make all of the difference when choosing your brand versus that competitor. We'll dive more into that in the next episode. But before we do, it's also important to understand how, beyond digital touchpoints, the landscape is changing at large. With successful digitally minded brands like Glossier, Drunk Elephant, or even Daniel Wellington heating up the competition, it's key to fine-tune your strategy to remain relevant in the minds of the consumer. Speaking of the consumer, it's hard to ignore how quickly they've changed in recent years and moreover in recent months. We'll tackle that in our next episode right after this. On that note, thanks so much for joining this masterclass on increasing your ROI in a cross-channel world. Tune in to the rest of the series to hear how you can increase your brand performance. In this episode, I'm going to share some insights of how the landscape has changed and it's impacting our customer today. Of course, you guys all know about the basics when it comes to customer marketing, understanding things like age, demographics, psychographics, purchasing habits, and the list goes on. However, when it comes to these profiles and your consumers, you probably know it's a bit different than it was in 2020. And we are certainly not going back to that world. So how do you understand your consumer in this new era? Everything we know is, of course, no longer relevant. So let's think about the major shifts impacting our consumer today. I'd categorize these into three buckets. The first is location, preferences, and digital arenas. What does that mean? Let me start with location. Physically, as international travel is not expected to return to normal levels into 2023, 2024, shoppers and consumption will be really focused domestically. Prior to the pandemic, almost half of luxury spending was from international travel abroad. And so the real challenge will be shifting to domestic consumption and connecting with your local consumer. That said, hyper-localization strategies will be key for bringing locals into the shop, whether that be in-store or online. And speaking of online, this second notion when we think of location relates to e-commerce. It's no secret that e-commerce has had an overhaul, and with more players actively participating, the competition is heating up. E-commerce is also adapting to offer a better service and experience to please the increasingly demanding consumer. From same or next day delivery, free shipping, returns, even virtual personal shoppers, you name it, they're offering it. But it's not just about e-commerce, right? Social shopping and in-app purchases are on the rise. Consumers are shopping in new places through new channels, and you need to be there. And this doesn't remain true for the younger generations. The millennials and Gen Zs are also getting on board. The pandemic has pushed a wide range of consumers to embrace digital and shop online more than ever before. It's crazy. I even see my parents becoming active online shoppers. So when you consider your next online or digital campaign, don't forget to take into account the wider meaning behind the phrase location. The second category I'd like to address is consumer preferences. And boy, have our habits changed in the last 2 years. Not only are we seeing a casualization of the wardrobe, especially at the start of 2020, where athleisure and sportswear were at its peak, but as we return to the office, we're seeing a more relaxed workwear, from heels and dresses to pants and sneakers, with full suits to blazers. However, if you think everything is about casual wear, think again. Consumers have outdated wardrobes and are seeing fun, playful elements that add joy to their life or give them a sense of normalcy. So, while we have a clear difference between casual demands of the consumer and the desire to sparkle and shine, we know that both hold an important place in the wardrobe and will do so moving forward. Lastly, when we think of important shifts, which have come to the forefront in recent months, it'd be naive to neglect the future implications of the digital arena. And what exactly do I mean by this? Well, this translates into a multitude of new channels and marketing strategies. Everything from gaming to NFTs, virtual fashion to, well, metaverse. Viewed as an extension of the physical world and embraced by the consumers of tomorrow, brands shouldn't hesitate to experiment with these value streams. At minimum, they'll unlock an exceptional amount of untapped profits. But beyond the new revenue stream, there are also venues to explore with, promoting community and building a sense of creativity and unity with their potential customer, something that brands are seeking out in the immediate. Now that you have your consumers' locations, preferences, and digital arenas in mind, the next important step is to understand the voices that can impact your consumer's journey. Join me in my next episode as I explore the voices that matter. In this episode, I'm going to share insights to help you understand the voices that matter. In order to demonstrate how you can leverage the best voices for your brand, first let me explain Launchmetrics' proprietary media impact value algorithm and how we apply our voice approach. The team at Launchmetrics has been helping the industry break the barriers between paid, owned, and earned, and the silos of print, online, and social. And to do so, we've created the industry's first metric, which provides a unified monetary representation of brand performance. We call it media impact value, more commonly known as MIV. In fact, MIV assigns a monetary value, so a dollar, a pound, a euro, to every post, interaction, or article to measure the impact and identify contributions to a brand across different voices, different channels, and different regions. By doing so, MIV helps brands really understand what's working and what's not. And most importantly, what voices are driving the most value for their brand. Now, when I say voices, I'm referring to Launchmetrics' voice approach, which is based on 5 categories: celebrities, media, influencers, or KOLs, partners, and owned media. At Launchmetrics, we're monitoring in real time over 500,000 of the most influential voices across fashion, luxury, and beauty. and categorizing them in order to not only provide data and metrics on a granular level, but by person and also on a more strategic level by voice. This allows brands to not only understand the impact of one, but many voices. Additionally, allows brands to create the right voice mix for their goals in order to make smarter decisions when it comes to their branding efforts. So let's discuss what that means, the right voice mix. There's no one size fits all approach, but there are things to keep in mind that we can help you create when you're thinking about the right balance for your voice mix on your next brand activation. First and foremost, let's look at the role of the voices in the buyer's journey, right? So as you can see here, each voice can influence the consumer in a different stage of their buying journey. Celebrities and media are all about awareness and pushing consumers towards the consideration phase. In other words, these voices are what attracts attention, generates astronomical levels of media impact value, and creates notoriety. Whereas influencers or KOLs, while many can have high media impact values, such as some celebrities, play a bigger role within the conversation and retention phase. They also provide their personal seal of approval, but moreover, they build an intimate relationship with the consumer and create content that is tailored to their specific following, all on the brand's behalf. Finally, partners and owned media are all about conversation and consumer loyalty. So to start, partners are great allies. They can support cross-pollination and advocate for you on your behalf, especially as partners are defined through a deeper strategic negotiation. They can provide you with specific deliverables to contribute to reach a common goal. And lastly, most importantly, owned media, a brand's own channels. While owned media might have a less glamorous annotation than, let's say, celebrities or influencers or KOLs, in this new era, social media strategies and digital communication directors are the stars in the boardroom. When the world shut down, access to celebrities, medias, and influencers became more challenging. So brands' owned media were put in the limelight, which can demonstrate that when times are tough, sometimes you can only rely on yourself. And so from this, we've seen bolstered owned media strategies that have helped brands stay connected with the consumer in a more direct and close relation than ever before. And as we say at Launchmetrics, who better to buy a Rolex than someone who already owns a Rolex? In other words, who better to sell to than your existing loyal fan base? Now that you understand the various roles each voice can play in the consumer mix, you need to understand which of those individual voices generates the most amplification. While you can easily find follower accounts, likes, comments online of individual voices, it's much more challenging to discover new names and understand if they have a strong, real engagement and connection to your consumer. The best way to do this is by leveraging data and analytics tools that measure who your audience engages with and pick those accordingly. For example, in Insights by Launchmetrics, you can take a look at any given month and discover who are the top voices contributing to your brand's MIV, whether that be media, celebrities, or influencers. What's even better is that you can discover and monitor results by any region, even China. So yeah, we can help you discover truly global voices and drive MIV, including those in China. And while some are likely names you work with, there are surely others that you didn't know mattered so much to your end consumer, and so many that already love your brand. This episode, I'm going to explain the various channels for fashion, luxury, and beauty brands, walk you through their specificity and best practices. While we might not have time to hit up all of the channels, I'm going to start with the ones that are making headlines for fashion, luxury, and beauty brands today, and the ones I know marketers are trying to understand better. So let's start with TikTok. With roughly 100 million monthly active users in the US and another 100 monthly active users in Europe, TikTok has become the video sharing content application with the largest number of users worldwide. The entertainment platform was also the most downloaded non-game app in the first half of 2021, with over 380 million first-time downloads. In the last year and a half, TikTok has become a platform to reach a new generation of consumers. And with the global fashion e-commerce market expanding to reach over $672 billion by 2023, fashion and luxury brands are taking note and placing the app at the center of many business strategies. While preparing our joint report this year with TikTok, we did an industry survey that found while fashion and luxury brands are very interested in TikTok and their interest continues to increase, only about 1/3 of professionals affirmed to invest in the platform already in 2021. But with nearly 70% of them planning to include TikTok in their future creator marketing activities. So it's interesting to note that even if the app seems relevant from a consumer perspective, from a fellow industry marketer's perspective, we still have quite a way to go. The app, though, is perfect for brands as it is a great discovery tool with real purchase power. In fact, TikTok takes the #1 spot compared to other platforms for purchasing products discovered on the platform, with 68% of users having been inspired to find out more about a product or brand as a result of TikTok. Even brands across the fashion spectrum have particular success on TikTok, as their users are more likely to buy products from luxury brands such as Louis Vuitton, 92% more likely, and Versace, 81% more likely when compared to the average internet user. Kind of interesting and amazing. But beyond purchasing power, what makes TikTok truly unique is its wealth of content creators, especially new faces, which have a large engaged audience and can create targeted, high quality content for your brand. 72% of the app's share of voice is from creators, many of which are TikTok natives. And it's so fantastic that they have a talent pool to leverage when they want to engage the influencer voice. So now that we've established content creators are thriving on TikTok, let's consider the top trends that work when it comes to content on the platform, because it's important to be specific when it comes to content. And I'll show you how they tend to differ. Trends are a key part of the foundation of TikTok and the TikTok app, generating followings and fan bases that cultivate popularity and create viral moments. And their value shouldn't be underestimated for brands when it comes to driving success. By leveraging popular trends on TikTok, brands can boost engagement, expand reach, and showcase some creativity and personality. The key TikTok trends for fashion and luxury can be identified as experiences, showcasing, unboxing, and tips and tricks. And why is this? Well, TikTok users want to be engaged, and the entertain me mindset is an important point of difference for TikTok, as 75% of users say entertainment is their main reason for using the app. Because of this, TikTok has become a place of brand discovery. And in fact, because of this, trend participation from fashion and luxury brands is as key as it can be to influence user perception. In fact, 61% of TikTok users say they like brands better that create or participate in a trend. So, lesson learned, give the people what they want. And of course, we wouldn't be Launchmetrics if we didn't take a deep dive into the data. Let's look at unboxing. Unboxing is where TikTok users give their audience an opportunity to see them virtually unwrap something amazing, like a Louis Vuitton bag, where they can dive into this carefully curated, detailed luxe trimming inside, whether it's the box, the package, the product itself. The unboxing hashtag has an impressive 12.6 billion video views, with these videos creating a sense of anticipation and excitement for viewers surrounding products that are impossible to resist. In fact, the average media impact value is $12.5 thousand with an average engagement rate of nearly 4%. And its top post being over $150,000 worth of media impact value for a single creator post. That's not deniably amazing. There are so many other trends that we can dig into, but I don't want to run out of time. So to find out more about the other trends and what creators are creating the most impact on TikTok, check out our joint report that we did with TikTok. Another social media platform to be aware of as a marketing professional in fashion, luxury, and beauty is YouTube. Now, I know the name is familiar, so you're still wondering, what will I learn? Well, we also did a joint report with them this fall and found some fascinating statistics about how YouTube can support and drive a long-term media impact value strategy for brands, even after your show or your campaign is over, thanks to a few tried and true tactics. Because in fashion, too often we look at immediacy as the factor in assessing our success. The truth is, we know our consumers are following our brands, our collections, and our shows days, months, and even years after some of our most iconic moments. So with that in mind, we need to rethink how we measure success and understand the impact of every strategy, every voice, and every channel we leverage to tell our stories. A great example is from Prada, when it broke down fashion barriers with their September 2020 show. On the heels of a newly appointed co-creative director, Prada followed their collection with a live conversation with Raf Simons and Miuccia Prada. The uniquely inclusive and intimate format allowed audiences live access with these revered designers. And only a few days after the show, the value had already started to increase, reaching an increase of 150% by the 60th day. With that, the collection saw an over 350% increase in engagement and over 400% increase in views. This just goes to show that creating an engaging, inclusive content strategy can generate well beyond the runway and Fashion Week. But not only is that a key tactic, it was also key that they made their consumers active participants of the experience, not just spectators. Well, I've just given you a glimpse of how you can be leveraging channels like TikTok and YouTube. Of course, there are many other channels your brand could and should be leveraging. So I urge you all to check out our Launchmetrics Content Hub to read all about these other channels and the best practices for your brand, whether it's Instagram, WeChat, Douyin, TikTok, YouTube, Twitter, you name it. In this episode, I'm going to explain how you should approach your strategy with a matchmaker mentality, pairing the right voice with the right channel for the right audience to reach the right goals. As we saw in my previous episodes, the consumers are changing. Voice categories each serve a different goal, and a different channel can provide different content and communication approaches. So when you have all of these different messages and venues in which to serve them, the trick is matchmaking success. If we think about the best campaigns, it's often those which feel not only organic, but some inconceivable reason simply make sense. And that's the result of the perfect fit from consumer target to voice to channel. If we break it down, it all begins with understanding the goal. So let's start there with your goals. Some common goals for brands are increasing brand reputation, optimizing or adjusting your brand positioning, increasing brands' media impact value, increasing traffic around specific campaigns to websites, social pages, etc. Broadening or deepening your target audience can also translate into followers, increasing your sales, or creating impact, improving your overall brand performance. And as you are starting to imagine, they are likely specific tactics that are coming to mind. And likely each tactic is a result of matching a specific voice with a specific channel. So let's take a look at some examples of matchmaking from brands that have achieved these goals. If your goal is to increase your media impact value and generate buzz, then there is no better venue than an A-list celebrity making a surprise appearance for the finale of your fashion show in the dress that inspired Google Images. If you haven't guessed what I'm talking about, I'm sure you've all seen the image, and it should be resonating with you now. It's a fantastic example of understanding what you're looking to do, and in this case, break the internet, and using the right individual to do so. By having JLo make a surprise finale appearance at their Milan Fashion Week show, there was an entire fashion community to be there in attendance, take photos and videos, and create the viral impact that they were aiming for. In fact, within 48 hours alone, that moment generated over 32 million in media impact value and launched Versace to the top of the SS20 Fashion Week charts with over $45 million in media impact value, again, in just 2 days' time. A match made in Italy, if you ask me. For brands looking to attract a new type of audience, temporarily playing with the brand codes or even generating a deeper connection with their consumers, they often turn to the partner voice by way of collaborations. It's undeniable that 2021 was the year of collabs and partner launches, and we're sure that 2022 has lots for us in store. The inclusive brand One Size, founded by the beauty influencer Patrick Starr, gained a staggering media impact value of over $10 million just in 1 month. Sephora's voice has brought $1.3 million to the table. Even though that might just account for a little over 10% of that value, the value of their placement was twice the value of One Size's owned media. So although, of course, Patrick posted more, 6 times more to be exact, the value of the partner voice was an important one. By leveraging the partner voice through partners' owned media channels, they managed to reach a new audience who not only likes the partner's brand aesthetic, but also is converted into a One Size fan. Another solid match. When it comes to creating impact and improving your overall brand performance, there are a few brands which come to mind, and one of the best is, well, Gucci. There are a number of examples one could cite, such as their collaboration with North Face, their recent Love Parade in Los Angeles, but the one that stood out on every level was Gucci Fest, a multi-day, multi-channel approach which involved all voice types, from celebrities like Harry Styles to media like Vogue, to influencers promoting the event and support from all of their partners, which in this case involved the names of all the talent who collaborated on the videos. Not to mention their owned media, which represented over 90% of the media impact value generated for Gucci Fest alone. A perfect example of a well-planned strategy, a truly 360-degree approach, which provided a 200% uptick in the brand's media impact value and performance. So remember, for your next campaign, take the time to define your goal. Decide which voice is your best ally to create the perfect voice mix, and reunite those elements with the channel that not only fits, but the target of your audience. In short, the right voice, the right channel, the right audience in order to achieve the right goals. And in this episode, I'm going to explain how you can look at previous campaigns and your competitors to help dissect your strategy and create a stronger one moving forward. Let's dive in. So, as I mentioned, it's important to not only look at your strategy, but also your competitive strategy to understand what's working and what's not. If I log into Insights, I can see, let's pretend I'm the chief marketing officer at Bottega. I can see how my brand is competing against those other brands I call my close competitors. I can see the media impact value we generated in the month of November. I can see the number of placements that generated that media impact value. I can see things like what is my share of value in the market compared to the other 9 competitors. I can see the evolution of our media impact value, as well as going back to Launchmetrics' proprietary voice approach, which voices are driving the most value for my brand. This will be really critical in helping me to understand what's working, what's not, and where I can be driving more value. It's no surprise, for example, that Bottega had almost no, or actually no media impact value for owned media because, of course, they retired their own media channels. But then perhaps we want to look at something like the partner voice, especially considering, as we discussed, that partners were so important in 2021 and are going to be critical in 2022 moving forward. So if I just want to do a quick click in, I can see who are the partners that have been driving value for me in the month of November. Of course, I can see all of my wonderful retailers that have been selling my collection and promoting my brand through their social media channels. People like Farfetch, Moda Operandi, Bergdorf Goodman, etc. All of the usual suspects, with the highest post being 16,000 euro in media impact value on Instagram. But then let's look at another brand, one of my competitors, who I know has done a standout amount of work when it comes to collaborations, especially considering this was their year of collaborations in 2021. I'm going to actually just push this back to September because most people kicked off their collaborations again during Fashion Week. I'm going to hit apply. And voila, let's look at, again, Balenciaga, who had a 4% of media impact value when it came to partner voice. So no surprise, we can see their infamous or famous Fortnite collaboration and Fortnite posting about them, which was incredible, generating 373,000 euro in media impact value on Instagram, followed by Gucci, of course, with the Gucci Balenciaga collaboration. It's really interesting to see these numbers, the media impact value, the channels that they're using. But let's take a deeper dive into, Balenciaga and their partnership strategy, because I think I have a lot to learn and a lot to see about what's working for them and what I can be asking my partners for myself. So I'm going to go into brand focus. I'm going to click partners. I'm going to hopefully keep this date. I'm going to click on Balenciaga. I, of course, want to look at all channels, all locations, and I'm going to hit apply. So in that time period, they generated nearly 9 million in media impact value, which was a 212% increase in media impact value from the period before. I can see that their top countries were the US, of course, Italy, considering their partnership with Gucci, and then China. And as we all know, China is such a key market for brands today. I can see actually all of the different channels in the media impact value. This is really interesting because it shows that they're not just generating media impact value on Western channels, but also on Eastern channels, which again, if you're targeting markets like China, it's super important to be hyper local in those markets and be on those local channels. I can see who the key partner voices were. Again, super, super interesting to see Gucci and Fortnite. And I can see, just in that period, Gucci generated 4 million euro in media impact value. And that was across 66 placements. And then I can also see Fortnite generated nearly 1 million in media impact value, and that was just 8 placements. And then actually Gucci's Chinese channels also generated another nearly 1 million in media impact value across 48 placements. So this is super interesting because, again, I want to target both my consumers that are on Instagram, but also on channels like Weibo, which is the Twitter of China. So it's just a really important reminder for all of us as we're looking to build our strategy that we need to think about how different voices impact that strategy. Different markets have different channels, and how, if we want to reach our consumer, we need to be where they are. We need to be working with the partners that know these, just funny before I click off, but you can even see Crocs here. We can see Fortnite's Spanish channel. I mean, there's a lot of possibility to generate media impact value with these partners. So I urge all of you, as you think about, what you're planning for 2022, think about different channels, different markets, different brands you can collaborate, and which voices are going to drive the most value and be best for your strategy. I'll leave you with that and tune into my next episode to wrap up this final of the Launchmetrics series on creating the best ROI in a multi-channel universe. And in this episode, I'm going to recap the key takeaways from this masterclass to help you remember how to increase your ROI in a cross-channel world. First things first, always understand your goal. Secondly, get a deep understanding of your target audience and consumer. Then, understand what channels those consumers look for to discover, inspire, recommend, and inform their purchasing decisions. And from there, understand what voice aligns best with all of the above. Remember, it's all about matchmaking, finding the right voice for the right channel to reach the right audience and achieve your goal. Thanks for joining.